On the sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I consider impossible is losing. I've been waiting on the sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I consider impossible is losing. On the sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I consider impossible is losing. I've been waiting on the sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I consider impossible is losing. On the sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I consider impossible is losing. I've been waiting on the sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Y'all punch that like button on your way in the building. Man, what's that about? I see y'all in the chat, man. Y'all punch that like button. Let your friends and family members know about the channel as well. Just so you know, this stream is being powered by BetUS. Receive a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Ladies and gentlemen, not just your first deposit, but your first 3 deposits. Now you have an opportunity to receive a bonus of 125% up to $2,500. All right. We've been talking about BetUS all season because it's not just the sports book, ladies and gentlemen. But BetUS also has the casino, the race book, even the live betting, all right? 24/7 customer service and 24-hour fast, easy payout. The NFL props are already up, so make sure you go take a look at those as well. The NFL Draft 2024 is also up. If you want to bet on who's going to be selected where, also MVP for next season is already listed. Here it is with Patrick Mahomes as the favorite at plus 700. This is a tough one, but it's going to be very, very, very interesting. And just so you know, if you don't know what plus 700 means, to give you some background, if you bet $100, you'll win $700. Okay. You would win $700. All right. On Josh Allen, plus 800. If you bet $100, you would win $800. That's pretty much how it works. Lamar Jackson doing it again at plus 1,000. Okay. So that's how you kind of do it. Tua plus 1,800, $100 bet, you win $1,800. Can Tua do it, y'all? Y'all think Tua can win the MVP next year? I don't know. I don't know if I would actually bet on that. All right. But again, the stream is being powered by BetUS. All right. Supporting our sponsors is supporting the channel. All right. Go sign up now and take advantage of the deposit bonus. All right. All right. So let's dive right in, ladies and gentlemen. The Miami Dolphins have tough decisions that they have to make, but they're going to make them. No one knows what those decisions are. A lot of people are insinuating. First of all, I've been telling you all that Xavier Howard may get cut, but a lot of people said, nah, they're just not going to do it yet. It'll be next year, but they did it. A lot of people, said, well, it's not that much of a surprise, but was it not? The way that they structure his books, they have to eat a lot of dead cap for the future, over 7 million this year and over 15 million next year. All right. So the team is definitely taking a hit in that regard. But the big question really is Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins is actually the big question. What are they going to do with Christian Wilkins? Because Chris Greer said he earned the right to enter free agency. But you see all these reports, all these writers and stuff, they think the Dolphins are going to bring Christian Wilkins back. And it's not far-fetched. They could very well bring him back. They could very well bring Christian Wilkins back. But I don't know if it's the smartest move to make, honestly. I want to say this, and I know it's a hot take. I think this team can survive without Christian Wilkins. He brings a lot to the table, don't get me wrong. But I think that this team can find, a good run stopper for a much cheaper price. I really do. I think Christian Wilkins may be the sacrificial lamb that helps us, move forward and be able to handle our salary cap going forward. I know a lot of people, who are we going to replace him with? I mean, you're not going to find another Christian Wilkins like that, but man, and I'm going to be honest, let me sidetrack this real quick and say this. This is what frustrates me about the Dolphins. Their track record and their history just sucks. Let's call it what it is. The track record and the history, it kind of sucks. And when I say it sucks, it's Chris Greer. It's really Chris Greer. Okay, let me fix this real quick. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, the track record, it really sucks because who on this roster did we draft or bring in as a free agent that today is about to replace a veteran and we feel great about it? Like the great teams do. Who on this roster is literally about to replace a great player that we've developed and we know without a shadow of a doubt they're going to be great? Nobody. And that's what's frustrating about it. And I try to say this all the time, and people like, oh, you're so negative, but Chris Greer has done nothing to fail miserably. He's continued to fail over and over and over. Too many failures, y'all. Noah Igbenogany, Raekwon Davis, Hunter Long, Channing Tindall, Cam Smith. Well, we'll give Cam Smith his chance this year, but so far it ain't looking great. I mean, it's just all up and down the roster. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you don't realize we went off the path last year, no, 2 years ago, we went off the path and nobody's really recognizing it. You remember when we first rebuilt, we got rid of all the good players. We had a no-name team when Brian Flores was here. We scratched the whole team. And we wanted to build through the draft. So what did we do? We started building through the draft. First year, we got our quarterback, got a tackle, you got some players in. Second year, got some more players in. No big free agency spending. We didn't spend any money on free agency. We were building through the draft. And as soon as they fired Brian Flores and Chris Greer was there, we stopped building in the draft, y'all. We literally stopped building in the draft. Now, we may have gotten one or two players out of it, like Achan and maybe another one that I ain't thinking about. But we stopped building in the draft. We stopped the rebuild. We start going right into, let's go buy players now. Let's go buy players now. I mean, I want y'all to think about this. We went and bought Jalen Ramsey. We went and bought Connor Williams. We went and bought Terron Armstead. We went and bought Tyreek Hill and gave away draft capital to make it happen. We went and bought Bradley Chubb. Same with Raheem Mostert. Deshaun Elliott, David Long. I'm not going to count Eli. But we literally, that's 8 right now that I could think of. We stopped building in the draft and we said, let's go buy the great players and stop, trying to draft them. And when you go back and you look at the misses, I can't get over the miss of trading Tyreek and missing out on McDuffie. Players like that were on board. Where was your scouting department? Where was your knowing of certain players being that great, having that great potential? Because what people don't realize is when you get rid of your draft pick to go and trade for players and get free agents, they're the expensive ones. They cost a lot of money. And the sad part is 2 years from now, how are you going to even replace them all? I mean, half of them you're trying to replace now. You're trying to replace Connor Williams. You're trying to replace Deshaun Elliott, possibly David Long. And in a few years, how are you going to replace Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill, Terron Armstead next year? How are you going to replace them? We're not developing players. We're not creating great players. None. Outside of our first and second round picks, which we haven't even hit all of those, we're not developing players. We got one gym, and that's Achan, and he has injury concerns. And I'm looking at it like this, y'all. This year, this is what I think is going to happen. The Miami Dolphins are going to move heaven and earth to run it all back with, close to the same team. It's not going to be 100% the same team, but it's going to be close. when running back, they're also going to give Tua a long-term extension this offseason. And I'm going to be honest, conventional wisdom and common sense says they're not giving Tua an extension this offseason. It would be reckless. It would be stupid. He hasn't earned an extension. But we're going to give it to him because, this is just my speculation. Greer hasn't failed us to fail us yet. So they'll give him the money. And after he gets the money, next offseason is going to be the most interesting offseason for the Miami Dolphins, y'all. Y'all think we're sitting here scratching our head this offseason? Next offseason is going to be interesting. Why do I say that? Tua's money ain't gonna be a big cap hit this year nor next year when they do the extension. It ain't gonna kill us this year nor next year, just so you know, FYI. We're gonna have to commit to Waddle's fifth option this offseason. His fifth option will stand. Jalen Phillips, what are they gonna do? And y'all in the chat, are they gonna pick up Jalen Phillips' fifth-year option? Are they going to pick up Jalen Phillips' fifth-year option? Lucky for them, Javon Holland wasn't a first-round pick, but unlucky for them, that means you got to give him a straight-up contract right away after this season. Or this season. It's his time to get paid now, just so y'all know. So they're going to have to sign a contract extension for Javon Holland this offseason. And we'll see what they end up doing in that situation. Or are they going to stall him out? Glenn said Holland gets paid next season. No, his extension is this offseason. His extension has to happen this offseason. Holland, if I'm not mistaken, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, acknowledge me if I'm right. How many years have Holland completed now? Is that not his third year, or am I wrong? Maybe I'm thinking off here. I think Holland just completed year 3. This is his 4th year. Yeah, so that's what I meant, Glenn. He's going into his 4th season right here. You're supposed to do the contract before he becomes an unrestricted free agent. His agent is talking to Greer now. Did you not see Holland's video? Holland said it himself. Yeah, it's my time to get paid this year. After year 3, if you're a second or later round pick, you do your contract extension. You don't wait to become an unrestricted free agent to do it, or he's in the open market then. Every team does it the year before the contract expires if you're going to do an extension. Holland already said it in an interview. Yeah, it's my time to get paid. I'm not worried about it. My age is taking care of it. And yeah, I've earned the right to get paid too. I mean, did y'all forgot Holland was the second highest rated safety in the NFL, if not first? I thought it might be second in the NFL. He's about to be paid, and his agent ain't finna play no games. Matter of fact, if I'm Javon Holland, I want to become the highest paid safety in the NFL. He has a right to ask for that. He was PFF number 1. Yeah, he has the right to say, I want to be the highest paid in the NFL on a 5-year deal with a lot of guarantees. And I know Chris Greer. No, we can't do that. And what Chris Greer going to do? The same thing he did with Christian Wilkins. Well, I can't give you that. You're going to have to bet on yourself. Holland going to bet on himself. Holland is going to bet on himself. I agree, Marcus, but it don't matter. He still was the highest rated safety in the NFL. We know this. Against good teams, he didn't play well. Just like we know against good teams, Tua ain't play well. We still ain't gonna pay Tua. So Javon Holland is a wild card. And then again, you got Jalen Phillips. Yes or no in the chat? Is he gonna pick up the 5th-year option on Jalen Phillips? Are we gonna do that? Y'all think that we pick up the 5th-year option on Jalen Phillips? I know we do on Waddle for sure. But what about Jalen Phillips? That's an interesting one. I know we all love him, but it's an interesting one. I say yes, but it's an interesting one. Isn't it? He ain't had a breakout season yet. He was really good last season. Oh, you're good, baby. Thank you. He hasn't had a breakout season yet. He was doing solid last season, but he got hurt in a major injury, by the way. I don't know. Yes, babe. Glenn, is that number for Phillips? 23 million for a 5th-year option? Are you sure? I'm not saying you're wrong, but are you sure about that? A 5th-year option for a DN? Or are they going to consider him an outside linebacker? You know that debacle. Which one do they technically consider him? You know how players feel about that. No, I'm a DN. They like when it's contract time, they wins. And the team is like, no, you're an outside linebacker. So the 5th-year option, it depends on which one it is. Phillips would be too expensive to keep. Come on, he's your first-round pick, though. You paid Austin Jackson. Outside linebacker. This is a 3-4 system. I know. I'm just saying. Technically, he is a defensive end. Just because of the system we play, they put him at the outside linebacker, but he still rushes the quarterback primarily. Let's call it what it is. Awesome. Thank you. Just saying. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see. Waddle and Phillips. I trade Jackson too. How can you? You just gave him his money. The contract hadn't even kicked in yet. But like I said, the real thing is going to be next year. Next offseason, it's going to be like, man, oh man. You got multiple options picked up. You got multiple people you might have to consider tagging. You can only do like 2, if I'm not mistaken. You got a lot of contract situations to make. Next offseason, they're going to be like, should we move on from this player, that player? Next offseason, Terron Armstead is done. He'll retire himself, by the way. And let me, you know what? That brings me to another point. Terron Armstead. How y'all feel about Armstead now? How do y'all feel about Terron Armstead now? I'm just curious. How y'all feel about Armstead at this point? I want to get y'all thoughts on that. Bum, overpaid, never played a full season, fragile. Now, I'm not going to say he's overpaid. Really think of Laramie Tunsil, right? Making like $25 million a year or something like that, right? Maybe even more. I don't remember. Armstead only getting like 16 or something a year. It makes sense for how much time he played, but still. Let me tell you what bothers me about Armstead right now. If you have a guy who's contemplating whether he wants to retire or not, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. And I know he coming back because he ain't turning down the fort. He gonna get that 14 million. All he got to do is be hurt for one more year, and he got his 14 million. But that's all I need to know. If you're contemplating retirement, now don't get me wrong. I've never questioned his leadership, or his will to want to give it his all. So, if he chooses to come back, I'm sure he's going to give it his all. But I'm sorry, man. That tells you all you need to know of the state we're in at that position, that we got a guy that's contemplating retirement. Are you going to draft his replacement? If you do, it got to be a high priority draft pick. You're not going to go get his replacement in free agency because that's going to cost too much. And they're not going to draft a replacement in the first or second round. They're not. So they're not going to focus on left tackle until next season. And once again, if we're a great team, we'll be picking late, and that ain't where you want to get your left tackle anyway. Late in any late round, in the first round, late, you want to get a bookend. Let me say this. I get it, y'all. Every time I do a stream now, I got like 2 or 3 people always pointing out the fact that every time I watch you, it's negative. Every time I watch you, it's negative. Well, I'm breaking down the team, right? And this is where I try to lean on you guys. Where do I draw positiveness from? Where can I draw it from? Where do I draw my positive attitude from about this team? Where? From top to bottom. Chris Greer at the top just keeps failing, y'all. Mike McDaniel, potential fraud, the more I look at the tape. Tua Tagovailoa, no comment. Backup quarterbacks. If Skyler ain't it, move on. Mike White, you're paying a backup $5 million. Come on, man, do better. Mostert getting old. We ain't got no running back of the future other than Achane, and he's having injuries. But I do like Achane. Tyreek Hill, rental. Jalen Waddle, can you afford him? And if you do, is he a number one? Yeah, he a number one, but is he a number one? Yeah, he a number one, but is he a number one? I could ask that 10 more times. We know Waddle is a number one, but is he a number one? You know what I mean? And outside of those two, any other receiver ain't even worth mentioning. Tight end, no comment. Group of collectives. Fullback, overpaid. Like them, but ain't worth the money you're giving them. Right tackle, Austin Jackson. Got better, starting to get back to his rookie form. But it ain't like he's like this dominant force. But I like the comeback though from, falling off a little. I do like that to where he's at least respectable right now. Robert Hunt, you're letting the man walk. Connor Williams, you're letting the man walk. Eichenberg, mixed emotions because I actually don't mind Eichenberg at center. I mean, I might be one of the only few people, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't mind him at center. But that's neither here nor there since they want to blame last year on the fact that Connor went out. Left guard, I can't even remember who played it. Left tackle, Terron Armstead. We just got through talking about that situation. And that's your offense. Ain't much to be happy about, especially with the long-term future of the team. Defense, Javon Holland don't play well against good teams. Balls out against the scrubs. We're about to have to pay him a guap of money, I guess. Safety, don't even have one right now. I don't even know if I keep telling y'all this, and I don't think y'all realize that we don't have a strong safety on the roster. Deshaun Elliott ain't under contract. Brandon Jones is not under contract. We don't. We ain't even got one. X is gone. Now we got to usher in Cam Smith, who one of the better defensive coaches of all time, wouldn't even let get on the field. We want to try to make this narrative that, he just wasn't a good coach. Come on, man. Jalen Ramsey, one of the few bright spots, but I definitely don't like how he handled in this Fangio situation, especially with his recent comments about Xavier Howard when he said, I'll never forget that dude for not utilizing our strengths. Let me say this, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, he was talking about Fangio. I mean, common sense, right? Let me say this. When you brought Vic Fangio in as a defensive coordinator, you brought him in and wanted him to run his system. You have talented players. He wanted to run his system. And he ran his system. His system does not consist of these good corners shadowing certain receivers, number one receivers. It's a system. And that system had us with the number 4 defense in the NFL at one point with 4 games left. So it was obviously working. If you want to go shadow people, we throw the system out the window. When they start picking on your safeties and picking on your linebackers because you don't have a scheme now because everything is man, then you're going to complain about that. Where's the Fangio system? So I don't like how Ramsey is doing this, but here's where I give Ramsey a little bit of leeway because when Ramsey came in, he had an expectation to be that dude one-on-one and stuff. He had an expectation when he came in his first year when Flores was gone, but Flores, the defensive coordinator the previous year allowed them to a little bit do that. That's what he expected. But they didn't expect Fangio to come in because when you bring Fangio in, you're bringing his system. So one of the bright spots, Jalen Ramsey. Just had to vent that out. And then when you go to the linebacking core or the nickel corner, who is our nickel corner? Y'all help me out. Who is our nickel corner? Who is our nickel? Who's the nickel? No, we cannot replace X with Kohu at all. Who's the nickel? Cater Kohu, who was getting toasted most of the season, who a year ago y'all kept making it seem like, oh, he can fill in for Ramsey. He's just fine, getting toasted up and down the field. Cater Kohu was getting toasted up and down the field. Nick Needham, I don't think he's going to be back at this point because the injuries just keep piling up on him. But I digress on nickel. And then when you go to the linebacking core, David Long ain't under contract. You're letting he's a free agent. Jerome Baker, let me tell y'all something. I ain't been on Jerome Baker's career. He's had some solid seasons, but he's probably gonna restructure and stick around. It is what it is. Outside of that, what linebackers do we have? Now let's go to the outside linebackers. Jalen Phillips, fresh off of a major injury. We don't even know what version of him we're going to get going forward. Bradley Chubb, fresh off of a major injury. We don't even know what version of him we're going to get going forward. Christian Wilkins, you're letting the man hit free agency. Zyler, solid. But that's about all you got on the whole D-line now. Van Ginkel, free agent. Raekwon, and I don't mind him going, but still, he even a free agent. We ain't got nothing. We got two outside linebackers coming back / defensive ends that's coming off of a major injury, and we have no clue what version of them we're going to get when they get back. Anyway, I just went over the offense and the defense, and this is all I'm saying to people. What you want me to be positive about? What you want me to be excited about? And I'm going to be honest with y'all. It's not looking good for us long term. But I will say this. I'm going to read the super chat in a second. I will say this. We can get back in a more favorable situation really quick if we just do what we got to do right now and don't be dumb about this whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the priority for the Miami Dolphins. What the Dolphins need to do is re-sign Christian Wilkins, long-term deal. Go ahead and sign Waddle on his long-term deal right after you pick up the fifth-year option. Make Tua play on his fifth-year option. Go ahead and re-sign Connor Williams on a long-term deal. Re-sign Robert Hunt on a long-term deal. And back end all these contracts, by the way. Javon Holland, sign him on a long-term deal. Sign your young core, the good players that you're allowing to hit free agency and do all this ridiculous stuff. Sign them on a long-term deal. And after this season, cut everybody that ain't under contract on the long term anymore. Trade them, do it all. You already got Austin Jackson locked in, so that's good. So what do I mean by that? Cut Terron Armstead. He's done. Tyreek Hill, you trade or he retires, but trade him. Get what you can. Okay? Then you go to Bradley Chubb. Trade him. Especially as soon as he come back, if he show any life of good play, trade him. Then Jalen Phillips, when he come back, if he show any signs of good play, you sign him on a long-term deal because he's a part of your young core. Sign Andrew Van Ginkel now to a long-term deal as part of your young core. Even Jalen Ramsey, after next year, trade him. So what would that do for us in 2025? We'd have all of our young core under contract. We'd have all of our draft picks plus a few more. And now it's not a rebuild. Now it's picking up where we left off 2 years ago before we start spending all this money. And now we know who Tua is as a quarterback in 2025. And if he's that dude, sign him on a long-term deal. Doesn't matter the cost. It's going to be what it is anyway. If he not that dude, thank God we found out. But continue to build through the draft and trying to make this team better and better. And once you feel like you have a 75% roster where you have built the team through the draft, then you go spend the extra little cash and free agency and stuff like that for the stars to complement in the few pieces you need. But we just got to make this decision to do that now. But they're not going to do that. You know why? They're going to sign Tua on a long-term deal. They're not going to sign all the young core that I told you about because they're more invested in, man. See, this is what they're dealing with in the front office right now. We want this team to win a Super Bowl, but we underachieved last year. We didn't win a division. We didn't win a playoff game. We underachieved. So next year, even if we win a division and win one playoff game and lose, our window's closed now on this same team. See, they know that they underachieved last year in the process of growth to what their goal was, that now they're hoping if we can't go back with all of this, now we got to skip the first goal and just go straight to the ultimate. But they know they don't feel comfortable with that. They know they don't feel comfortable building a team this offseason that could win a Super Bowl. Why? Because, first of all, they had it easy last year with all the injuries in the NFL with the quarterback position. And then on top of that, they already proved they can't even beat a competitive team last year, healthy or non-healthy. And then on top of that, they got all these players coming back. We don't know what Bradley Chubb is going to look like off of this injury. We don't know what Jalen Phillips is going to look like off of this injury. We don't know how Terron Armstead is going to be holding up. We don't know how we're going to look with a few subtractions that we're going to have to make, potentially losing a few key players. They know that the confidence that they had last year is not as confident as right now. They know they're not as confident right now. And they're scratching their head wondering, do we risk it all to keep pushing forward, knowing that can set us back? But at the same token, you know that they're not willing to just say, all right, we got to do what's right. Let's semi-scrap this plan and keep moving forward the methodical way. The fan base would have a fit. The fan base would have a fit. But what you don't realize, you're going to have a fit anyway heading down this wrong path. It's even worse. But it's our fault as fans because we would rather keep going down this path and fail than to do the right thing and build methodically like I just outlined. We would rather that. Half of this roster is injury prone, ladies and gentlemen. Half of the roster is injury prone. Let me let y'all in on a little secret. We won't have a single season where we don't have at least a few big time players go down for the year. We got so many injury prone players that it's highly likely that you're going to lose a few of the big time players every season with this roster. That's the tough part. That's the tough part. So what do? We sit back and just wait on Chris Greer to make the decisions, and we root them on like we like them. We better make the playoffs this year. Can y'all imagine us winning 9 games and missing the playoffs? Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. I ain't saying we're going to swap with the Jets. I'm just saying it's going to be an interesting season. Another thing, I'm really interested on how we're going to allocate our money to. Do you know that we're not allowed to spend Xavier Howard's money until June 1st? The money that we're going to be saving? We're not even going to be allowed to spend it until then. Is that when we feel the back end of the roster with the cheap veterans? We will have a $25.9 million cap hit until June. So here's the interesting part. You know how on March 13th or whatever day that is, every team has to report under the cap? When we report, we still got to carry that 25.9 million of Xavier Howard. So we have to get under the cap while reporting that $26 million. In other words, the Dolphins got to find a way to get to plus 26. So expect some major extensions and restructures to be coming over the next 3 weeks. A lot of people's about to get some signing bonus restructured. And here's what people don't understand. People are like, well, just restructure Tyreek Hill. You can't restructure Tyreek Hill like that. It ain't gonna be massive money that you're saving. And then people said, well, extend them. Well, you can extend them and save a lot of money right now, but you're extending him. You're extending him. And please don't tell me we talk about voidable years. Man, we going to be eating some dead cap in 2026, 2027, 2028. That's what I think that's about to happen, y'all. I think they're going to do moves like that. Have a lot of these veterans like Ramsey, Tyreek do extensions that give voidable years, that give them more money up front, but a small cap hit. So that 2 years from now, that dead cap is going to be massive. I agree, Brandon. Cap can easily be manipulated until you kick the can down the road so far that you can no longer manipulate it. See, it's one thing when you're carrying 15, $20 million of dead cap every season. Okay. 10% of the cap, 8% of the cap is dead cap. Okay. But when you enter that 20, 25, 30% of your cap is dead cap, that's a whole different story. You can't function like that. Anything over that 10% threshold, you tripping. In those kind of moves, you can manipulate the cap, but those are the moves that put you in that situation. Everybody, will the Saints figure out a way to do it every year? Did you see the Saints this year? See, what starts to happen is you start to see that they still have a team, but you're wondering why you're only winning 7 games or 8 games. That's what starts to happen. Take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for instance. They went to the playoffs. Lucky them, because they had over $40 million in dead cap that they were carrying. Lucky for them, Baker Mayfield played like a $40 million quarterback, but was only making $4 million. Lucky for them that they were able to find a quarterback that could play at the level that he played at this year. Put an actual $4 million quarterback over there, they wouldn't have even been in the playoffs. Lucky for them. And lucky for them, it was at the quarterback position, by the way. Because if it wasn't at the quarterback position, that means it would have been 3 or 4 players worth on the roster. But again, like I said, look at what the Saints continue to go through. But they're at this point, they're going to start digging themselves out. Because slowly but surely, people haven't noticed they've been a little bit more responsible, even though it's been negative, negative, negative. They've been more responsible, but they understand that they've been losing for the last 3 years too. Now, TD going all in and not winning a playoff game is great. You hating GM of the year. All right. Greer going to extend to it to save money this year because he knows he's going to, if we don't win a playoff game, we bone. Yeah, I'm not debating that. I agree with that. I agree with that. We're back into another season of hope, ladies and gentlemen. What do I mean by hope? I hope Tua takes the next step in great big games late in the season against great competition. I hope Bradley Chubb can come back and be what he was before, if not more, because I actually still need him more than what he was. I hope Jalen Phillips can recover and come back and take that next step. I hope Cam Smith can fill Xavier Howard's shoes. I hope Channing Tindall can fill David Long's shoes. I hope A-Chain can stay healthy and Mostert. It's a team of hope this year. Ain't too much more hope because everybody else ain't under contract. I hope we sign Christian Wilkins. I hope we get a center that was as good as Connor. I hope we get a guard that was as good as Hunt. I hope we get a solid safety. Hope, hope, hope all up and down the roster this year. And every time I think in my head, how many players on this roster that I have not a single question about? Jalen Ramsey. That's it. One player on the whole roster that I have no question about, Jalen Ramsey. And I hope he don't get hurt again. So I don't know about that. Jalen Ramsey. That's it. I agree, Jay Stone. One thing I don't never allow people to bash Stephen Ross about, he's willing to spend money. That's the one thing I never bash him about. Let's see if he's willing to spend it this offseason, though. Let's see. You have a question, but Tyreek, yeah, he a rental. This might be his last season. And if they extend him further, and another thing, listen, I love Tyreek and I respect Tyreek, but when you play the good teams, they bully him and he looks inferior. We're going to sit here and ignore what happened against the Chiefs. They made him look like a child. Let's keep it a buck. Only thing he can eat on is free releases against them. They made that man look like a child. Let's call it what it is. Tyreek Hill is the greatest receiver on the field when you ain't putting your hands on him and you allowing him to run, get free releases, and get all that speed. He's just so great. But what the Chiefs did to that man, I'm sorry. That's blueprintish. Everybody saw that. They got it all on social media of him getting pushed to the ground and stuff, and they did it all game. They did it all game. Now, you still going to have these dumb, sorry, trash, weak pie teams that, well, I'm scared of the speed. We got to back up in this game. Yep, we going to eat. This is why I tell y'all nonchalantly, man, our offensive success had nothing to do with us. It was more so what the other teams weren't doing, second guessing themselves. Well, let's back up. We don't want to get beat. Like, okay, then don't get beat. And sometimes you do anyway. Every team that went up to that line of scrimmage and said, what's up? Let's do it. Let's fight. And they put their hands on our receivers. They had success. Now, yeah, they might get smoked on one or two plays a game up the sideline. It happens. But for the most part, those were our tough games. Those were our gritty games. Those were the games the offense looked like garbage. So it just depends on the teams we play, how they want to play us. How they want to play us. Time will tell. Y'all do me a favor, punch the like button for me while we had this conversation. Hit that like button for me. And thank you all that already did, and thank you all that are about to. Let's get to 200 likes. We got 400 people in the building. And I'm going to say this too. The one guy who can overcome a lot of our problems and make a lot of our problems irrelevant? Tua Tagovailoa. It's that simple. He can make a lot of our problems irrelevant. Literally. But can he make him irrelevant? That's the big question. I'm really hopeful for Tua this season, y'all. We already know we're gonna get like 8 games where he just cooking defenses, wide open zones, trash defense. We already know we're gonna get by 8 of those. The other 9 games, what do we get? I can't wait to after free agency, after the draft, after the last few signings, around training camp. I can get a look at every roster in the NFL. And then I could tell you on paper my early predictions of who we're going to beat and who we're not. I can look at the defensive coordinators and see what type of style they like to play. Every year, I be pretty much on point. This year that we just had, out of 17 games, I only got 3 of them wrong. This year, I only got 3 games wrong out of the 17. Out of the 18, because I knew we were going to lose to the Chiefs. I tried to be optimistic and say we were going to win, but I knew what time it was. I thought we would lose to the Chargers in week 1. I was wrong. They didn't even attempt to play the same defense they played last time with us, by the way. They didn't even put hands on receivers or anything. This is what I mean by second guessing themselves. It makes no sense to me. You had 3rd and 4th stringers 2 years ago bullying us, putting your hands on us, dominating us on defense. Now in the game of the season, you had all your starters back and you playing 10-yard cushion. Don't understand it. The Chargers. The coach had to get fired. Had to get fired. But I thought we would lose that game and we won. The next one was Tennessee. I thought we'd win that game and we lost. And the last one was Dallas. I thought we'd lose that game and we won. Once again, Dallas Cowboys, number 1 team in the NFL running man press coverage. They come out in a raggedy zone giving cushion the whole game. Except the 3rd quarter, they start playing a little bit of their man, and they were stopping us. Then all of a sudden, right back into that raggedy zone. For the life of me, I have no clue why. But those were the 3 games I were wrong on. All the other games, I knew what was going to happen. I called every single one of them. Every single one of them. Knew we'd lose to Buffalo. Knew we'd lose to Philly. Knew we'd lose to the Chiefs. Knew we'd lose to Buffalo again. Knew we'd lose to Baltimore. And when this Chiefs game came, I knew what was going to happen. I just wanted to get through the hump and be positive and say that we were going to beat Kansas City. Tough, man. Shout out to Chisel Bravo. Just became a member with the Pro Bowl status. Salute to you. Thank you so much, by the way. Welcome to the membership, showing your love and support on a consistent basis to the channel. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this stream is being powered by BetUS. Once again, you have an opportunity to receive a 125% bonus, up to $2,500 for your first 3 deposits now on BetUS, okay? It's not just your first deposit anymore. It is your first 3 deposits where you can receive the bonus. 24/7 customer service and 24-hour easy payouts. For those who are just tuning in, supporting our sponsors is supporting the channel. Remember, BetUS is an official sponsor of TD Fans Talk, and we're talking about the casino, we're talking about the sports book, live betting, all of the good stuff. All right, we showed you this earlier. The most valuable player prop is the interesting one that a lot of people are getting on right now for next season. But I'm going to be honest, I would actually look into the conference futures, AFC conference futures, is up, and this one is more interesting if you ask me. All right. Let me see here. Oh, that's the most valuable player. What are my conference futures? Oh, that's why I clicked on it already. All right, all right, all right. Give me a second. I'm gonna bring them up for y'all. All right. Let me. All right. Ah, they actually took them down. They must be going to adjust them. Well, they'll have them back out really soon, ladies and gentlemen. They also got the odds for the Super Bowl winner. Let's see if they still have that up if they took it down real quick. Let's see here. Time. All right, there it is. It's crazy to me. San Francisco is still plus 600 as the favorite. Well, Kansas City is the same thing. Where is Miami? We are plus 2,200. Plus 2,200. 3, 6, 7, 8. Ninth best odds to win the Super Bowl. How many teams in the AFC? 1, 2, 3, 4. We are the fifth best odds in the AFC to win the Super Bowl. That's what they have. Now, all of these lines are going to change when free agency hits and all of that in the draft. A lot of these things are going to alter trades that are going to be made. It's going to be very interesting. But again, you want to put your bets in, go to BetUS, and link is in the description of the video. Don't forget the 3 deposit bonus, all right? It will give you 125% on your first 3 deposits, not just your first one anymore, all right? Take advantage of that opportunity. All right, y'all. Any last questions you guys have, put it in the chat now. I want to answer some of your questions. If you want to get my thoughts on any and everything, put it in the chat now. I'm going to give you all a few minutes to put your questions in, and I will answer them. By the way, I got some equipment in. I'm waiting on one more thing. We finally got his soundboard, all right? I finally got a soundboard. It's pretty dope. It's called a Roadcaster. It's pretty dope. All right. Costs a little bit, but I appreciate all the love and support of the channel, all the super chats, all that good stuff to help me get some of this new equipment for the future of Fans Talk. And the podcast. I'm starting a podcast tomorrow night. All right, 10 p.m. That's the goal. Okay. 10 p.m. to about 11:30 p.m. We're gonna do the podcast on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right. It is the Tony Dow podcast. All right. So make sure you go check that out. As a matter of fact, let me put the link in the chat so y'all can go subscribe to it now. Let me see here. All right. Here we go. All right. All right. I'm dropping it in the chat now. And this is not going to be football related at all. We're not talking football. This is my opportunity to escape football because football has been my life, night and day, all day, every day. This is my opportunity to escape football. The link is in the description of the video. All right. It's going to be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights at 10 p.m. to about 11:30 p.m. All right. It's going to be a late nighter. All the kids asleep. Good conversation about any and everything. All right. It's going to be talking about all type of stuff going on, current events, funny things, sad things, bad things, good things, all that good stuff. All right. Talking about the culture, all type of stuff. All right. Yes, here. Good to see you, TD. Truly thankful. Salute to you. Same here. Good to see you too. Really good to see you. All right, we talking real life, not Dolphins fantasy land. Yes, man, this is stepping away from football. Just talking about everything going on. I'm giving my opinions on things, all kind of stuff, everything, man. Relationships, all kind of stuff, good stuff. So, yeah, go break it all down. So go to that channel, subscribe to it. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. I'll be having the first episode of the podcast. All right. He cares about him being healthy. Can't win the big games. TD, how much do you think Waddle will get in his next contract? Can the Jets, Dolphins, or Patriots win the division? If not, I see the Bills running it for the next 5 to 10 years. Waddle on his next contract, not max, but pretty much. So if Tyreek getting 30 now and the people coming up is going to be getting 31 and 32 and all of that, Waddle going to get around 29, 28, 29, something like that. Yeah, that's what Waddle's going to be pushing. 28, 29, something like that. Yeah. Let me see. What are they talking about? Oh. Okay, I got it. Not worth it. Stays hurt. Well, yeah, that's gonna be the price. And if you don't want to pay Waddle, then what you gonna do about the future? Now you ain't gonna have no receiver. Now you won't have any receivers. What you gonna do? If you don't want to pay Waddle, what you gonna do? Live in the realm of having no receivers at all? Got to figure it out. This is the situation we're in, man. It's the situation we're in. But we will figure it out. Anywho, man, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here for the night because I want to start, doing some prep work for my podcast tomorrow. Also, first thing in the morning, we will be live right back here on TD Fans Talk. Wake up with TD in the morning, every morning, Monday through Friday, from this point going forward. Okay. TD, did you see the report of X-Man going to Houston? I said he may end up in Houston, but we'll see. Time will tell. It's going to be an interesting offseason. But yeah, wake up with TD in the morning. So if you don't catch the show, just check it out at some point during the day. But you can wake up with me in the morning. I will be live early morning, getting you through your morning, taking you to work. It's only going to be 45 to an hour stream every single morning to start our day. All right. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Fins up no matter what. I'll see y'all soon. Y'all take care and y'all have a blessed night. Kiss your family. Peace. I'm out.